The early 2000s were a lot of things in anime, from anime girls doing cute things to anime girls doing sports, harems, romance, slice of life, school life, anime girls wielding guns, anime girls wielding swords, and last and most importantly, anime girls baking bread. Yeah, baking bread. Oh, and the rise of shonen as we know it, coupled with some seinins, by the way, but that's not so prevalent in this era. But moving on. This time, technology was more leaned onto in the production of anime as opposed to the hand-drawn way it was done during the 90s with the introduction of digital coloring, leading to an overall change in industry. Anime was slowly coming to the spotlight, and that meant a lot of things had to change, from its animation style to production and its general theme it portrayed in its stories. This era welcomed many things that changed anime for the better, while laying the blueprints for modern battle shonen as we know it. Change was its central theme, and change things definitely did. Welcome back to Anime in Years, the early 2000s to be exact. Japan was entering a new millennium. The economic trauma of the 90s still lingered, but the digital age, though at its early stages, was beginning to show its relevance in day-to-day life. And anime from this era felt like it was searching for a balance between the old ways of animating and the new possibilities now given to it with digital coloring. But eventually, anime settled on something, a blend of both worlds, half analog soul, half digital innovations. A strange, beautiful mix that still carries the warmth of the 90s. But let's talk about digital coloring for a minute. Digital coloring is an animation process that slowly came to replace the traditional hand-drawn way of animating and painting cell sheets, that is, cell animation. By integrating computers into the coloring process, artists still drew by hand on paper or tablets, but coloring the final product was done with computers in detail. Cell animation involved drawing manually and painting manually on cell sheets, then photographed or scanned, creating that warm, organic look from the 90s we love. But it was a heavily tasking process, making just one episode of anime, hence digital coloring, that skips having to paint every single cell drawn frame by frame. Now, they just have to draw hand or digital, scan to the computer or tablets for instant coloring, with consistent shadows, highlights, and lighting across all frames. The early 2000s had a lot of female characters doing cute things in anime. Wait, yeah, never mind that. But in all seriousness, there was a heavy representation of female characters during this era, and it's kind of like opposite to what it is right now, but here's what I think. Anime's image during this time was more about cute girls doing cute things. But the way I see it from all the shows that were out during the time, it was either for good, wholesome times or edgy, harem-related situations. In quotes. You know what I mean? That aside, in the central theme of change, anime during this era started to dip their feet more into the shonen genre, giving rise to the big tree we know in anime. But most people today see the big tree more as a podium, showcasing the best of the best airing currently, or the most popular of the bunch that seems to fit. But I digress. More on that probably on another video. The big three were the major driving force of change in the early 2000s, redefining, popularizing, and giving rise to the classic battle shonen formulas that we still use till date, like the power of friendship. Yeah. Really, the big three popularized a lot of traits in shonen, like popularized it, not really like invent it. But yeah, we'll be looking at a few of them, and starting with having an impossible dream. Each protagonist of the big three, other than being characters that just fought to get stronger, no offense Dragon Ball, had ambitions that were considered impossible in their verse. Their growth, coupled with being a nobody, gave each of its fans something to aspire to become, if only they dared to dream big. This especially is the case with One Piece, and although its story isn't finished yet, we still see how increasingly impossible this dream is. But that's part of what makes it interesting, still, till today. Another one which is quite remarkable is rule-based power systems. Now, most battle shonens before the early 2000s were more inclined to just be about fights with an established hierarchy, mostly to show how hard the protagonist had to train to be able to beat the big bad guy. But during this era, the big three popularized a version that introduced lore and rules to power systems. We see fights in Naruto and Bleach, for instance, that required you having to think on how certain feats were possible or fights won with clear disadvantages on both sides, making each fight more thrilling and interesting than a power brawl till someone's dead. And lastly, world building. A lot of people misunderstand world building, thinking it's when the world the characters live in is as big and has a lot of locations. But It's far more deeper than that. Simply put, it's constructing a world with coherent qualities in law, culture, or physical laws and constraints that all align naturally to this made-up world. These qualities are what makes world in anime feel alive, and a good example of this is no other than One Piece. With all its locations, each having traits consistently throughout the series so far, diving deeper and deeper into this elaborate world Oda has made shows the master craftsmanship put into this imaginary world alone. So much in shonen was popularized or redefined during this era, and I may not have mentioned it all, but there's actually no time to. But in the seinin side, we had shows that still made us feel introspective, even for an era like this. Let's start with Monster. A slow-burn psychological masterpiece that was intriguing with each episode. Delving into the mind of a cold, calculating, manipulative psychopath really made you ponder on the thought of what really creates a monster. Is it the world, or are people inherently evil from birth? Well, to me, I believe in order to create a monster, you must first teach it to detest care and concern for its fellow humans. But inherent genes increases your chances of success. But enough of what I think. Let me know what your personal thoughts on this is in the comments, or any other thing you find interesting in Monster. Next up is Mushishi, an anime so calm and meditative it almost felt spiritual in a sense. Each episode to me was a soft whisper about life, nature, and the invisible things that shape and influence us without our knowing. Mushishi was a change of pace, a breath of fresh air in the anime space even. Its unique calmness and atmosphere was one that made you want to appreciate the little things, leaving this mechanical routine modern life behind and wanting to connect deeper with the world around you. And finally, one of my favorites, Samurai Champloo. An anime that blended two things I never thought could work in anime so well, it literally became the blueprint for lo-fi as we know it. The mood always felt relaxed, the characters carefree, and the story, although messy, carried its haphazard message clearly, which was, no matter your character type, carefree, planned, organized, or even a rascal that go with the flow of things, life still happens. Difficulties may come, plans may change, the past may continue to haunt you on your way, but with all that weighing on you, the only way to really enjoy life, or your goal you're pursuing, is to live in the moment, focusing only on the journey and experiences along the way, not the destination or goal. On the studio side of things, the anime industry became more layered, but to understand this evolution, we have to look back at where we stopped, tracing back from Toei, the roots of the modern anime industry. So, from Toei came a wave of breakaway talents, animators, directors, and staff who would go on to shape the studios we know today. Some formed independent studios like Mushi Production, Tatsunoko, and Doga Kobo, while others helped form Topcraft, a studio born in 1972 under former Toei producer Toru Hara. Topcraft produced international works like Thundercats Season 1 and helped animate Lupin III. But after going bankrupt in 1985, its core staff and assets were acquired by Hayao Mizuyaki and Isao Takahata, both former Toei and TMS animators, leading to the founding of Studio Ghibli that very same year. Another branch of the anime studio tree came from TMS Entertainment, founded by Yukata Fujioka in 1946 with backing from Sega. TMS helped train multiple legendary animators and gave rise to Telecom Animation Film, and from former Telecom staffs came a new studio born in the early 2000s called Ufotable, a studio that would later go on to redefine animation in the late 2000s. Each new generation of studios carried a piece of Toei's DNA, and the early 2000s was the moment all these branches started developing their own identity, but more on that in the next episode. To me, the early 2000s was more like the birth of anime as we know it today. So many foundational shows came out during this time, marking the start of anime's recognition worldwide with the renowned Big Three spearheading it. Most of the anime out during this time were all either well-grounded shonen like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, or thought-provoking like Monster, Technolize, and Paranoia Agents, or even experimental like Samurai Champloo, Mushishi, and Fully Kali. Yes, I didn't mention that earlier. Anime this time was at the point of change all round, from its global recognition to animation style to the way it told its stories. It was always changing, like an adolescent, trying so many things to see what works best. And that's because change is a constant in order to grow. But change that chips away at your originality is a slow death at your individuality. Anime in this era shaped the anime fandom we see today. The Big Three built a global community, Ghibli elevated anime to cinema level respect, and Samurai Champloo influenced music culture across the world. As the early 2000s moved forward, anime sharpened its identity in a way that combined the old and the new together. So when you watch anime from the early 2000s to the mid 2000s, pay attention to the foundational blueprints laid out beneath the story. Because this is the era when anime embraced change in order to grow, while still retaining its authenticity.
Oh man, this is being kicked. This is being kicked. If I get a good thing, I am comment about. Such a strong sound. I was in clear results.
As it started recording.
The recording not showing it.
Like, that would be cool.
No. I don't know what to say, but if your cough for some reason it does this thing.
The early 2000s were a lot of things in anime. Some anime girls doing some anime. Oh, fuck. Next time, we enter the era that shaped the modern anime world through chaos, the late 2000s. I'm Joseph, assisted by John, and I'll see you next time.